Hello! In this tutorial we are going to learn how to crochet the basic granny square. Granny squares are so versatile and they're definitely one of those basic crochet items that everybody should learn. Many different ways to make granny squares and lots of pattern variations. I like this version because the rows stay nice and even. It also seems less likely to develop wonky edges, curling, ruffling, or large gaps in the center. That can be really frustrating when you're first starting out with crochet. Granny squares can be made in one color, or you can change the colors or use variegated yarn just to make it interesting. When joined together, as you can see, they make really nice blankets, scarves, bags, even pullovers and other clothing items. So let's get started. I'm still learning to do video tutorials, so bear with me as I learn how to edit these. I'm using pure merino wool in a double knit weight, and I'm using a 3.5mm hook. Let's make a slip knot to connect our yarn to our hook. If you don't know how to make a slip knot, you are welcome to find a tutorial on my channel. Bring your yarn over, pinch there, pull through to create the knot, tighten up, and then we're going to chain 4, 3, 4. Now, once we've chained 4, we need to create a circle to work into. So we're going to insert our hook into that first chain that we made, and then we're going to create a slip stitch to join the chain together and make a circle. Hopefully you can see the circle here. That's what we're going to be working into to make our first cluster. We're going to do 3 chains, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a double crochet into that circle. So it's yarn over, hook through the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to make another double crochet into that same circle, yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and we've made our first cluster there. That first chain 3 that you made counts as your first double crochet. So essentially we've got 3 double crochets in our first cluster. We're now going to chain 2, and this will form the first corner of your square. So chain 1, and then yarn over to chain 2. Then we're going to make 3 double crochets into the ring, which will be your second cluster. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There's your next double crochet. So that is the first of your 3 double crochets. So make another double crochet, and then your last double crochet of this second cluster. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 clusters on our circle, and you're going to chain 2 to make another corner, and then another 3 double crochets into the circle to make a third cluster. That's 1 and 2, and then a third one, 3, and then we're going to chain 2 to make the corner. So you can see our granny square starting to take shape. We've got our bottom 2 corners, we've just come up and made a corner, and now we're going to complete our first round with another cluster of 3 double crochets. So it's 1 and the second one all into that middle circle there, and then a third to complete the round. So now it should start to look a little bit like a square. We've got our corners and our corner spaces and our groups of 3 double crochets to make up the sides of our square. Up until this point of our corner spaces, we've done 2 chains, but for the final corner space on every round of our granny square, we're going to do it a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, but I'm not going to chain another one. I'm going to join my round to the top of that chain 3 that we made at the beginning of the round. So I'm going to make a single crochet into that stitch. So you'll see I'm putting my hook in there, and I'm then going to pull up a loop, and then I'm going to make my single crochet, which I do by putting my yarn over and then pulling through those 2 loops on my hook. And now I have made a single crochet, so that completes round 1 and joins the end of round 1 to the beginning of round 1 at that chain. We start round 2 the same as we did in round 1, chaining 3, which stands in as our first double crochet. To carry on with round 2, we're actually going to turn our work over here and crochet the next round on the opposite side. So from here on, we'll be looking at the back of the first round. Not every granny square is worked this way, but I really like this method because it helps the square stay nice and straight as it grows. It also helps prevent uneven edges and some curling and ruffling that can be quite frustrating. So from here on out, the pattern is repetitive, which is lovely because you can get into a rhythm. We'll be working those groups of 3 double crochets, so the clusters into each gap, and then every corner we will make the 2 chains to keep that square shape nice and defined. So now we're going to do our next double crochet stitch for round 2. Yarn over, and now put your hook into that corner space and then pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 stitches and yarn over, pull through the next 2. We're going to do another 3rd double crochet in the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again and pull through the last 2. So we've now got 3 double crochets, or the 1 chain and 2 double crochets, so the cluster there, and then we are going to make another cluster in the next corner space. So we're going to be working 3 double crochets into that next space there. So it's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and then another one. So that's 2 double crochets and another one. That's 3 double crochets to make a cluster in the corner. So next we're going to make a corner space because we are on the corner there, and to do that we're going to chain 2. 1 over, chain 2. Now we're going to work another 3 clusters back in that same space. So we're not moving on to the next space, back in that same space, yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, another double crochet, and then a final one, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So now we've completed our corner with a chain 2 space. So what we've done here is created a corner group, and we're going to do that in every corner. So it's the 3 double crochets, 2 chains, 3 double crochets. So let's skip over into the next corner. We're doing our 3 double crochets, 2, and 3, and then chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. So we finish this corner cluster here, 1 more double crochet. Right, so we've completed the next corner. So we're going to skip over this cluster below and then go into the next corner with our cluster group or corner group of 3 double crochets, and then the 2 chains to make the corner, 1 and 2, and then our next group of 3 double crochets. Oops, sorry. And 2 and a third to finish off that corner group. Oh wow, it's really starting to square out now. So if we look at our square now, we've got a corner, the 3 corners, and we have only got 1 corner left to complete, and it's actually the same corner space that we did our starting chain in. So we've already done that second cluster. We're going to do what would be the first cluster of that corners group. So let's do our 3 double crochets in that space. So there's my corner, and I've got 1 group of 3 double crochet from the beginning, and I've got the one that I've just made, the other group of 3 double crochet, and we're going to finish off the round just like we did in round 1 with a chain 1. And then we'll complete the round by making a single crochet into the top chain of that chain 3 we did at the beginning of the round. So let's do that together with the single crochet. You will insert your hook into that top of the chain 3. So we didn't yarn over, we're just going into that chain 3, then you pull through your yarn to put a loop. So you've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both to make a single crochet and close off your round. So we're now ready to do the 3rd round of our granny square, and for us it'll be the final round, but you could carry on going if you wanted. So we're going to chain 3, which will be as before, the first double crochet of our cluster, and then we're going to turn to work into the other side of our work. Then that's, as I said previously, just to give us a nicer, more balanced square. So I've got my corner space here, and that's where I'm going to work my next 2 double crochets to make my cluster, my corner cluster. So if we're counting the chain 3 as our first stitch, we've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets in this corner space here, and we're going to move across to make our next cluster in the next space. So we're working this cluster into the space between the 2 clusters from the previous row. So it's 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and then 3, and then we will move across to the corner. So in this corner space, I'm going to make the same corner group as I did in round 2, 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and then we're going to make 2 chains to round the corner, and then another group of double crochets into that same corner space, and 3, finishing off with number 3 there. 3, right. So you can see we've round the corner, and now we're going to move to the next space. Repeat your cluster of 3 double crochets into this next space. And 3, that completes that cluster. And now we are going to skip the next cluster beneath, and we are going to move to the next corner space where we will make the corner group into it. So that's the 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and then your chain 2, and then make another cluster of double crochets into that same corner space. 1 and 2 and 3 to finish that corner group. And then we're going to skip the cluster below and move into the next space with the same 3 double crochet cluster. Sorry, my work drifted off the screen here, and I didn't realize until I'd already got to the corner, but I just did a cluster of 3 double crochets, and now I'm moving into that corner space to repeat my corner group of 3 double crochets, and then the chain 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then another 3 double crochets into that same corner. 1 and 2 and 3, and that completes our corner. Awesome. It's really looking so cute now, and I love how it's lying flat, and that's the benefit of turning your work. So we're working a cluster of 3 double crochets into the next chain space, and then we will, so if you see, our next chain space or next space is where we started the round, and we've already got 3 double crochets in there. So now we need to work 3 more double crochets, and that we will finish off our corner. So doing 2 and 3. So if you remember, at the end of round 1 and 2, we did a chain and a single crochet to finish off. That's because we wanted to move up to the next round, but we're going to finish our granny square now. So to do that, we're going to chain 2, 1 yarn over, chain 2, and then we're going to join our round, or finish our round, by making a slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 that we made at the beginning of the round on our first cluster that we made. So you insert your hook, pull through your yarn, and then pull through that same yarn through the other loop on your hook, and that completes your slip stitch and finishes off your round. And now we need to tie off our yarn end. So to do that, you can make another chain, and then you snip your yarn and pull it through. I'm not going to be snipping my yarn because I am wanting to do something else with it. So, but that's just to show you, if you tuck that away, what your granny square will look like. And you would weave in your yarn ends with a darning needle once you are done and happy. And or if you're going to make more squares, some people use the ends to connect them together, but yeah, that is a granny square. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you'll be back for more crochet adventures.